Avalanche ecosystem. We have here with us today Federico Nardelli. He's going to talk about all the comprehensive stuff and probably to go into like special topics, but we'll see because.
Hello everyone, I'm Federico, and today we will talk about Avalanche. I don't know how familiar you are with Avalanche, if you know how different it is from other blockchain, but in fact that Avalanche has a multi-chain architecture. So it is really different from other blockchain. So if you think about like Bitcoin or Zcash, for example, you have one blockchain and one asset only. And then if you think about instead Ethereum, you still have one blockchain only, but multiple assets, multiple tokens. Instead, what is different with Avalanche and other ecosystem, it is their multi-chain architecture. So multiple chain and multiple assets as well. So Avalanche, what is Avalanche? Avalanche is an open source platform for building your own decentralized application in an interoperable and closer? Okay, fine. And highly scalable ecosystem. So this layer 0 architecture can help to create your own layer 1 that works as a blockchain, and you can create in a customizable way. So that can really specific for your own specific need. So what is this layer 1 of Avalanche and why you should start creating one? So first, for the scalability, second, for the independence of the fees, and then for the customizability of your specific blockchain. So in fact, as you can see there, we can use the analogy of a blockchain as an highway. So the number of lanes is the throughput that can be handled with the transaction, and the length, the path that you must reach is the time to finality. So thanks to the Avalanche, you can reduce the latency, you can increase the number of transactions per second, so the throughput, and decrease the transaction cost. And if you are comparing Avalanche to other blockchain, you can see how the consensus mechanism that is called Snowman can reach the finality in less than 1 second. So here you can see an overview of Avalanche ecosystem. So you can see the primary network, that is Avalanche blockchain, but you can see many layer 1. Those layer 1 are this subnet that you can create, and all these chains are interoperable. So you can communicate with protocol level. They are called ICM and ICTT, and eventually we can talk later on, that can enable the communication with messaging and token transfer through all these blockchains. And in fact, the scalability that is provided by Avalanche is not a vertical scaling, but is an horizontal scaling, because by adding more chain, you can combine the throughput of all this chain and reach a huge amount of throughput, and always keep the same short time to finality. So about the fee isolation, I want to spend some more time. So as you can see here, that could be like a snapshot of what is happening on Avalanche. So the primary network, so Avalanche blockchain, could be congested. And so, of course, the gas is rising. And sending a transaction when a network is congested is always more expensive. But what is happening if I'm launching my layer 1? I completely be isolated. So I have my own native token, and I can use it for paying the transaction fees and for the governance. And so I can be have the stability of my transaction. And that's way different from the layer 2, that is a vertical scaling approach. So if you are thinking about the layer 2 solution, they are scaling just in a vertical way, but they are still coupled to the base layer. So if we are thinking on a layer 2 on Ethereum, you are still sending a transaction on Ethereum. And so if the network is congested, you are still paying more. So with this solution, you are completely isolated and you have more stability. Also, it is really high customizable, so each of layer 1 can be different. So you can customize the execution layer. You can decide to not have an AVM, and you can also change the programming language of the smart contract based on the virtual machine. And also, last is the Avalanche consensus is always that one that can reach, it is called Snowman, and can reach the finality in less than 1 second. So that's your journey to start building on Avalanche 9000, and it is called Avalanche 9000 after the Etna upgrade. That is actually live since December 2024. So what changed? Before, the network was the primary network as their validator set, and all this layer 1, they should have to validate their layer 1 and the primary network. But that was really expensive because each validator node has to stake 2,000 AVAX, and that's pretty expensive. And you need at least 5 validator nodes. And so now, after this Etna upgrade, you just validate your network. So you have a model that is pay-per-use. So each validator node has to pay 1.33 AVAX per validator. So you can have a different type of layer 1. You can be fully private. You can think about regulatory compliance for institution. So you can decide which address can deploy smart contract or which they cannot. Or eventually if anybody can interact or cannot interact with your layer 1. So since this is more isolated, you can validate or not the primary network. Before, I was talking about two protocols, ICM and STT. They are called interchain messaging and interchain token transfer, and that enable the communication through all the layer 1 and, of course, the primary network, and in a native way. So you are working at the protocol level. And that's help because instead of the use of bridges that work at application level, you can perform some exchange of token in a more faster and efficient way. So there are different use cases of Avalanche. It is well adopted, and of course, due to the high finality and really low latency, it is well suitable for the gaming. So they are like off the grid, one of the biggest blockchain game that will be also available soon on the major platform like PS5 and Xbox. So they have a really huge market. And there are other chains as well that are specialized for gaming. There are also some protocols that are used for DeFi. These are the biggest one. And also there is a famous DEX that is called DEXalot as well that is pretty well used. And now I will talk about some of the program and why you should start building and learn about Avalanche, because they are investing a lot, because they spent many years, many resources to create this infrastructure. And by building your layer 1, now you can leveraging their technology and start asking for building. So this Retro 9000 is the launchpad for creating your layer 1. And so they are allocating 40 million in supporting the growth and the process of growing your layer 1 and your idea. So you can submit your project proposal, you can vote for your favorite project as well, and follow the news in real time. So that is the link, retro9000.avax.network. And also there is another important site that is the Builder Hub. So build.avax.network, where you can find anything about documentation, the academy courses, and also a request for the grant. So here, as you can see, you can allocate some vote for the project, and that's the platform. And yeah, so there are some protocols that are becoming, they started like really small, but now they are getting really a huge amount of fund. For example, Tesseract, that is a DEX aggregator. So by building more layer one, there is more liquidity that is divided through different layer ones. And this is a DEX aggregator that calculates the best path to eventually perform a swap on directly on your layer one, or maybe if it is more convenient to go to the C chain of Avalanche and go back, or eventually go directly to another layer one. So now they are getting many funds to continue. So the retro drop is like some incentives for the community that are trying to adopt and grow on the on Avalanche. You can join the Telegram group where, like, also if you are participating in hackathon, there is an hackathon channel for support and many things to ask for. But there are way more program, not only Retro 9000, but for example, there is Codebase, that is a program, an accelerator program that is active each 6 months. They are selecting 7 teams. Each of the team get 50K, and they are just trying to expand their idea and build something. After that, they are the best team out of the year. They compete for 1 million prizes, so they're splitting based on the number of teams. And yeah, that's a really huge opportunity. But if you have like a smaller team, or like just some idea, like eventually even not an MVP, you can also apply like for InfraBuild or InfraBuild AI if you are like using AI technologies, and that help like you can request some grant for elaborate some idea, and if it help the ecosystem growth of Avalanche, you will get some funds, so you can define some milestone. So maybe after 1 or 2 or 3 months, you can decide the amount of money allocation you need to continue creating and develop your project. And yeah, there are many programs, so definitely check on build.avax.network under the section of grant. And now Alessandro will talk about root scan.
Okay, let's go. Okay, hi everybody. Today I'm gonna talk about route scan, but let's have a step back before, because we were born in 2021 as the name Avascan. You're probably familiar with it. And what's Avascan? Avascan was the first block explorer for Avalanche, and the goal was to trying to handle all the subnets. So creating an indexer for all the subnets, handling the CPS was critical at the time, but we made it. And thanks to that experience, we created route scan. And of course, no trace, but no trace is just for the C chain subnet Avalanche. So what's no. Okay. So in a nutshell, route scan is a block explorer. It's probably the first one, and you can track all the EVM blockchains in a single front end. So you don't have to switch across tabs. You have a very comfortable experience, and it's useful because you can track transactions, you can track L1, L2 cross transactions, and yeah, for the moment it's mostly based on EVM, but we have also many custom VMs. So what can you do with it? Simple, it's just Etherscan, but on steroids. So it has the same experience for the user, and you probably are asking why you copied Etherscan, because the market wants that. Okay, we tried with Avascan, we tried our own experience, our own front end, but the market wants Etherscan like Block Explorer. So that's why it could be a clone, but it's not. Because you can check basically everything, okay? From smart contracts, internal calls, call data. gas fees, and DeFi experience. So yeah, you can check the DeFi traders volume for developing. It's really good for content interaction, and you can have a really powerful chain analysis tool. Yeah, the difference is basically, for example, that page is showing a lot of RPC URL. You probably, if you're a developer, you probably struggle with it because it's really hard to find RPC URLs and change it easily. And yeah, the most interesting feature is that we can create your Explorer in 48 hours with full history API. And for developers with just one API key, you can check all the transactions of all AVMs at a price 10 times cheaper than Etherscan. So we disrupted even the Etherscan model, business model, okay? So you can reach out in rotscan.io, and that's it. Thank you for your attention.